Well, the weekend has come to an end, but we do not end things here. Now, as you know, recently we had some tag league tournaments that took place not only with New Japan and Stardom, we also had All Japan. However, I decided just to skip ahead and do the finals because we have very interesting matches that took place on that particular. This one happened in Corkin Hall, I believe, on November 8th. So this was the finals of Real World Tag League by All Japan Pro Wrestling. So we will see who walks out as the winners. And then we move on with ChocoPro's recent event, number 413, featuring many matches as well. And then, of course, we have New Japan Pro Wrestling with their Long Beach show, Strong Style Evolved. We have many matches involving the New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team titles. The Grizzled Young Veterans defend their belts against the team that felt that they deserved it more than anybody, West Coast Wrecking Crew. And then, of course, we have the Strong Openweight title and the Strong Women's title as well. And then, of course, we will cap up our episode with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have been said. I believe it's time to get this show on the road. So, let's move on with our very first review, and this is from Japanese promotion All Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, All Japan Pro Wrestling. It's been who knows how long since I did one of these. Now, first things first, I will apologize to everybody. As you know, we did have the um, World Tag League, the Goddesses of Stardom Tag League. All Japan Pro Wrestling had their tag league with, of course, Real World Tag League. So that took about 11 days. However, I did not see the entirety, but I decided, you know what, I'm going to skip it and just jump in with the finals, which I'm sure many of you would probably agree with, not to catch up. But of course, our first two matches that began, this took place in Corkin Hall, I believe. Um, I think it happened in Corkin Hall, I'm not sure. But anyway, it happened on the 8th of November. Now, the first two matches are the semifinals of Real World Tag League. Match number one, we have Kento Miyahara. He teams up with Davey Boy Smith Jr. son of the British Bulldog. Uh, they face Rising Hayato and Yuma Anzai. Now, of course, it's interesting to see um, Rising Hayato being in this match for obvious reasons. He was a junior heavyweight competitor, but we have seen recently where junior heavyweight competitors start building up muscle and possibly weight to enter the heavyweight division. But I didn't know exactly if this was going to work out in its way, but it did because they made it to the finals. But but in the end, it was in fact what's his name, Kento, who in fact applied a German suplex on Hanzai, and just like that, it was over. Now, our next match is also part of the semifinals of the Real World Tag League. We have Raiki Honda and Ren Ayabe taking on the Saito brothers. Yeah, Jun and Ri Saito. So basically, the Saito brothers are the most destructive force ever. I mean, people can rarely defeat these guys. These guys are a far more dangerous group. But I can tell you that this match ended all thanks to Ri Sato when he applied a power bomb on Ayabe, and just like that, it was over. Now, we will see, of course, at the end, Kento Mihara and Davey Boy Smith take on the Saito brothers at the main event. Now, our next match, we have Dusuke Sekimoto, Kengo Machismo, and Ryo Inoue taking on um, Tanshi Nagai. I think he's a young boy. Shotaro Ishino, and Dan Tamra. Now, of course, you can see that 5 out of the 6 wrestlers are stronger, but the weakest link in this match, you can tell, is Nagao. So basically, he will be taking the pin or the loss in some ways. And it kind of did because he ended up on the wrong side of the Boston Crab, all thanks to Sekimoto. And just like that, it was over. This next match, we had a very interesting match. We have Senor Saito, Makoto Oshii, and Mike DiViccio taking on Musashi, Siki Yoshioka, and Kuroshio Tokyo, Japan. What I like about this thing is this. Before the bell ring, those who know this, Kuroshio Tokyo, Japan, he likes to sing and dance before he gets into the ring. However, well, Yoshioka and Musashi were not having it. They're like telling him, you had your fun. Get in the ring. So basically, he tried to pull an Orange Cassidy. If you guys remember, it was that one moment where Orange Cassidy had to roll to one side to the next, that sort of thing. So we had that kind of moment, but it didn't work in his favor. But unfortunately, it was Musashi who ended up being the one on the wrong side of the shooting star press by Mike DiViccio, and just like that, we were done. Now, our next match, we have a bit of a 10-man tag team match. We have the group known as Bakano Jidai, consistent of Fumino Abe, Hikaru Sato, Hideki Suzuki, Yuma Aoyagi, and Suwama. Now, it was interesting to see that these teams team up this way. They seem like a efficient team, but they face against Okudu Gun, consisting of Okudu Omori, Hartley Jackson, Kuma Arashai, Jack Manning, and of course, no, Jack Kennedy, and of course, Cyrus. So basically, we have about a bunch of heavy hitters in this type of match. But however, it was of course, what's his name, Aoyagi with a headlock on Kuma, and just like that, it was over. So it was a pretty good match to see. Now our next match, this is our only championship match, is the Gaota TV title. Yuko Miyamoto taking on Seigo Tachibana. This was a very strong match, a very good one. I wasn't too sure where this was gonna be, but it was in fact Miyamoto with the moonsault onto Tachibana, and just like that, we have a brand new champion. Now, our main event, we have the Real World Tag League Finals. Kento Mihara and Davey Boy Smith versus the Saito brothers. I was impressed by this match by every way possible. The Saito brothers are not only real life brothers, but these guys are in fact a team that are a force to be reckoned with. These guys have shown that they are not a team that should take lightly, a team that should not ignore, a team that should either learn to deal with their brutality or suffer the consequences. And that's exactly what was going on. They did not hold back, but it was of course Risato with a sidewalk slam onto Kento, making them this year's real World Tag League winners. So I'm pretty sure they will be challenging for the tag belt or something, but we will see where that goes from here. So I think that's pretty much it. What we have with this with All Japan. Let's move on with ChocoPro. Okay, ChocoPro number 413. This just recently took place on the 14th of December. Now, as always, we have Balin Aki opening up the show, giving everybody the greetings and the lowdown on the match. Match is taking place, but as usual. Now, let's begin with our first match. We have a bit of a 3-on-2 match, which is very unusual. We have Hiroi Iwata, Irikane, and Nonaka Seto taking on Masahiro Takanashi and Emi Sakura. Now, of course, you would ask yourselves, there is a numbers game, but if you look at statistics in some capacity, you look at, of course, the Yawada, Kane, and Seto. They are the ones with the much least experience in different timelines. So that kind of plays out if it's well. But however, when you look at Masa, he's a bit of a clever and slicker wrestler, and that kind of plays out. But however, they did some unusual submission tactic, but the real person who actually was the legal person that was submitted was Hiroyi, and just like that, it was over. So, a very interesting contracts going on. Our next match, we have the ever cute Kaho Hiromi teaming up with Sayaka. They take on Tokiko Kirihara and the so-called big sister of Kaho, and much more, how do I say, more clever than her, Mei Shiruga. So you would think in some capacity, of course, we've seen those two team up, we've seen them face off each other. And of course, Mei Shiruga knows that she may be cute, but the problem is, don't ever, ever underestimate her. So that's one of the things about Gaho. She's a bit more different than Mei, but more cheerful. But unfortunately, it seems like their clashing never goes unchecked in some ways. But it was Mei Shiruga that was able to pick up the win by pinning Kao, and just like that, it was completely over. Now our main event, we have another six-person. We have a six-person tag match. Team number one, we have Balinaki, Miya Yatsuba, and Mochi Natsumi. They take on Chiko Shikawa and Obi as our who are our current Asian Dream Tag Team Champions. They team up with Hagen and Shino. Now, of course, it's interesting to see Hagen team up with Chi again. As you know, they've been they teamed up in the past, so that kind of plays out. However, the real question is, anybody from the opposing team, such as Balian or Miya or Mochi, if they were able to successfully pin the tag champions, there's no doubt in my mind that they would definitely try to cash in an opportunity for the Asian Dream Tag Team belts. However, that wasn't the case because in this matter, it was Hagane who picked up the win. At first, he put Miya Yatsuba in a submission, but somehow he was able to overturn it. It was the octopus stretch, but it turned it into a somewhat of a pinfall, and just like that, Hagane won the match. Now we jump into the Jonkin tournament. This one was a very interesting one. Teacher versus student, but this one is a very more like a long time thing to see. Emi Sakura versus Mei Shiruga. So yes, basically those who know, it was Emi Sakura who trained Mei Shiruga. And you probably would think that Emi Sakura will win, but nope, not this time. It was basically, Emi Sakura went paper while May went scissors, and just like that, Emi was not happy, But in the end, made sure to walked away with the chocolate, and just like that, it was over. But during the post show, we did celebrated the birthdays of both Mochi Natsumi and Hagane Shino. So I'm sure they thanked everybody for their wonderful time and birthday greetings that they can get. But that pretty much ends things right there. So I think that's pretty much it what we have. So let's move on with our last and final review, and that is New Japan's Strong Style Evolved. Okay, our last review, New Japan's Strong Style Evolved. This is their much recent show in Long Beach, California. Now, some of you may say, "Hey, J Rod, you're from San Diego. Wouldn't you gone to the?" Yes, but basically, my brother and my friend who came with me to see AW, I don't think they would make the trip for that. I don't think they're not much of New Japan fans. But if I have other friends who can drive up there, maybe so, but not this time. But anyway, let's start with in the main card. We're gonna skip, of course, the opening match, like the dark match or whatever they have. Our opening match, we have Mina Shirakawa taking on Johnny Robbie. Now, nothing too significant about this, but one time, those who don't know this, I was scrolling through Instagram. I found out she was in Redondo Beach, and I forgot. Damn it, I forgot she's gonna be part of Strong Style Evolved. But yeah, I mean, nothing too special about this match, but I can tell you that this match fallen favorite with Mina because everybody loves Mina. People say we want Mina. So she applied the glamorous driver Mina, and just like that, she won. Now, our next match, this is the New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team belts. We have the West Coast Wrecking Crew, um, with Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaacs taking on the Grizzle Young Vets, James Drake, and Zach Gibson. Now remember, ever since these titles were established, we know that the West Coast Wrecking Crew have been aiming for these belts since day one. Now, they always felt, the West Coast Wrecking Crew, that they should be the ones get credit, saying, we were the ones who started this thing. We should be the ones becoming the first champions, but it was never them. So that kind of plays out in a way where they're like frustrated. They like, we want these belts. We're the ones who started this, and they felt disrespected. But of course, when it comes to the Grizzled Young Vets, they always find ways to ensure they walk away with the win. And that's exactly what they were trying to do. They even try the eye gouge, even using the scarf. But however, it was James Drake who walked away with the win. Royce Isaacs who walked away with the win when he rolled up James Drake and using the tights. And just like that, it was over. However, like any type of situation when it comes to new champions, we do get the first challengers. And Rocky Romero comes out, of course, issuing the challenge, saying that they want to be the one, him, along with Yo, be the first people to challenge for these belts. And of course, um, West Coast Wrecking Crew showing their disrespect. They attack Rocky, but this will not go unpunished, one way or the other. Our next match, we have a four-way. We have Clark Connors of the Bullet Club War Puppies, the so-called captain of the United Empire, Kosa Fujita, and of course Kushida being there. Now, of course, when it comes to these type of matches, anything could happen. But of course, there is the common factor with Clark Connors, who's a bit of an aggressive one, who is determined to win at any cost. He will do whatever it takes. But one thing that was interesting is this: we did see what's his name, uh, Kosa Fujita putting Clark Connors in a submission. This match could have won in his favor, but it was TJP who pinned Kushida, and just like that, it was over. But it seems that, of course, because of this pinfall, TJP has one thing sight. Remember, Kushida is one half of the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team belts. So basically, him and Francesco Akira could challenge for these belts. Now, our next match, we have a very unique kind of match with different styles of wrestling. We have Leo Rush versus Hechicero. Now, of course, we have seen how incredible Hechicero is, not only just as a submission specialist, but he comes up with these very interesting, unorthodox ways to win or put people in submissions. That's one of the things that I like about this guy. But when it comes to Leo Rush, he's a guy that we know he can take risks, not like Darby Allin. But however, in this case, Hechiseto picked up a fantastic win when he applied like a somewhat of a try to get his legs on around the head of Leo Rush, and then somehow dragged him into a pinfall. And I thought it was pretty sick. But I'm sure we will see more of Hechiseto in New Japan. Our next match, we have a tag team match. We have Lij's Titan and Hiromu Takahashi. They take on United Empire's Jacob Austin Young and the brand new member of United Empire, Templario. Uh, yeah, so they do have another member this time. They have someone representing Mexico, and what's interesting is, and Walker Stewart kind of said it all, that there is a rivalry between both Templario and Titan. So it would make sense that he would join because, of course, Titan, as you know, he's the first ever Mexican being with Lij, while Templario will be the first ever Mexican to join the United Empire. But however, it was Templario who picked up the win with a powerbomb backbreaker onto Titan. So basically sending a clear message to him saying, you're not the only one who's going to make an impact. So sooner or later, possibly the United Empire will try to be back. And some people credit TJP in recruiting him. So because as you know, we have two wrestlers down, Hinare and Cal Newman. So we'll see where that leads. Now, our next match, we have the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship. We have Rohei Oiwa and the biggest crybaby of them all, Gabe Kidd. Now, as you know, Gabe Kidd was in a match not too long ago against, of course, Oiwa's teammate, Kosei Fujita. But however, I have to say this was one of the best matches I've seen with Oiwa. He's shown that has the fighting spirit and all that. But however, Gabe Kidd had help with that idiot Clark Connors getting involved. But thank God for Fujita, he took out the trash. But it was not enough, of course. Gabe Kidd walked away with the win when he applied a power driver. And then once again, with his loudmouth saying that he is New Japan and all this, he's even claiming that all this stuff about Kenny Omega, since he's going to face him. But I hope Kenny puts him in his place. So we'll see what happens with this big baby. You know. Now, our next match, we have Fred Rosser, Tom Lawler, and Shota Umino taking on TMDK's Bad Dude Tito, Shane Haste, and Zack Sabre Jr. Now, remember, Zack Sabre Jr. and Shota Umino will face off each other at Wrestle Kingdom for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. However, Zack Sabre Jr. has been very pissed knowing that Mikey Nichols is out and all the blame goes up to Shota Umino. So that kind of goes out in a way. But however, it was Bad Dude Tito who picked up the win for his team when he applied a pile driver, and just like that, it was completely over. Now, our next match, we have Jack Perry. He teams up with Konosuke Takeshita to take on Lij's Yota Tsuji and Shingo Takagi. Now, remember, Jack Perry attacked Yota Tsuji during a New Japan show here in the States, declaring his opponent at Wrestle Dynasty. But as for Konosuke Takeshita, he faces against Shingo for a title versus title, the AEW International Championship, and the Never Openweight title. So that kind of plays out in every way. So you see some good moments when it comes. However, Jack Perry low blowed Tsuji, and then he applied a knee strike to pick up the win. But of course, it became a beatdown thanks to Takeshita and Jack Perry. But luckily, Hiromu tried to save the day. But out of nowhere, of course, the Young Bucks appear, making their statement that they are going to be the IWGP Tag Team Champions, but those titles are currently vacant. So they will do whatever it takes to get them. So we will see where that goes from there. Now, our main event, we have the New Japan Strong Women's Championship, Azuki versus Mercedes Moné. I thought this match was incredibly good. We have seen some of the best matches with Azuki in the past. I mean, we know she's tough, she's very resilient, but man, going back and forth between these two, they're like facing off the best. But unfortunately, Azuki came up short when Mercedes applied the moneymaker, and just like that, it was over. And then, of course, Mercedes Moné does her promo, giving a statement. But however, a surprise person showed up and issued their challenge, and that is, of course, none other than Mina. So she became the next challenger for the New Japan Strong Women's title. However, Mercedes says that if she's going to put that title on the line, she should put the Rev Pro uh, undisputed women's British Women's Championship on the line. So it's a winner take all type of match that will take place. So we will stick to that. So for right now, I think we are done with New Japan. Let's move on with news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's get started with, of course, upcoming events. Now, as you probably know, we're almost near the end of 2024. House of Glory will probably have their last show of the year with Live for the Moment, and they just announced the current House of Glory World Champion Mike Santana will be there. So it's still unclear who his opponent's going to be, so we can't wait. And of course, we have on December 28th for the Take Care event. GCW's world title will be defended. Mance Warner defends the belt against the former champion Masha Slamovich. And then finally, as you know, we got the collective taking place in 2025 between the 17th and 19th of April of that very year. Defy Wrestling has been announced that will be participating as well. Now let's move on to some developments. Now some of these developments are in fact a little late, but I decided what the hell, since I forgot to put them in. As you probably heard from Fightful Select, Ricky Starks is released from AEW, and I think some of you may think, is he going to WWE? I know we have seen reports that WWE are interested, and of course we have seen Ricky Starks was at the backstage area during Cody's time, so we will see what happened. Wrestling Observer reports Juice Robinson had a successful surgery on his broken fibula, so it's still unclear how long he will be out. So naming his return is still unclear yet. So we'll stick to that until it's a definitive answer. What's their name? Oh yeah, many of you saw what happened at Final Resolution. A fan slapped Eddie Edwards. Well, it's been reported that that fool has been escorted out of the building and arrested. So he'll be charged of what he did. So, uh, good job. Speaking of TNA, it's been told that Rhino will be leaving TNA, so he will have his final match against Ryan Menneth. So that's going to be very interesting to see. Let me pull this out of my phone. Ryan Alvarez reports about, of course, Luchasaurus, or as we know him, Killswitch, that he's recovering from his double pneumonia that put him out for a while. So this is what he said. He's doing much better. I am told that he is working hard towards comeback and credits Tony Khan and AW medical staff for not being patient with his, but also telling him to stay home for the week before he collapsed, which saved his life. It was very serious. So basically, he took the advice and he did stay home. So it could have gone worse, but it didn't. Sareee, as you know, has been was on her training and attitude towards taking care of her body has changed since WWE. So this is what she had to say. Before I mainly hit Hindu squats and push-ups, but now I get cutting edge personal training at the gym 4 times a week. I have a professional training me for 2 hours and teaches me insufficient methods. The way I use my body has also changed. WWE do a lot of weight training. I realize that is important, so I have continued since I came back. I also practice in the ring as much as I can. Also, run, jump the rope. Um, I am also getting proper physical treatment. I think it is important to take care of myself in order to continue doing the pro wrestling I love. Before I went to America, I neglected my treatment. I thought it was okay to have some pain. My attitude has changed in America. The top wrestlers take good care of their bodies. I used to think that it was cool for us not to go to the hospital, but I finally realized that it was wrong. So you have to take good care of your body and put much strain in it in the ring, working so hard. So I have to say she is learning as she goes, which is cool. I mean, I understand that, if you neglect to go to the hospital, you cannot wait. We have seen people who are stubborn to do that. Like they think they can beat it. But Sareee has learned it's not cool. And finally, during a post-match comments, Sumi Sakai, as you know, there's been talks about her retirement. Well, she approached Hiromu Takahashi, and this is what happened in the backstage. Please be my opponent in my retirement match. And of course, Hiromu proposes a mixed six-man tag match. So this will take place on January 11th at San Jose for Battle of the Valley. So we will see where that goes. So that's pretty much it what we have. So I think that's pretty much it for our news updates and everything else. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode coming up. Well, I haven't decided yet, so I'm just gonna wing it for all of you. So we'll see how that rolls up. So I'm kind of curious for myself as well. So I think that's pretty much it. So stand by the new episode. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.